Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Paige. I make videos every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You should subscribe. And today we're going to be talking more about Cipro. I've previously made a video about my experience with Cipro and all of the dangers that come along with the drug. If you haven't seen it yet, you should check it out. And I decided to make a part 2 to that video because so many people related to that story and have had issues with Cipro themselves. And I hated how many people related, but it also made me feel less alone. So today I really wanted to share some stories about other people who have experienced terrible side effects from Cipro. I'm going to screen record on my iPad so that we can look at these articles together. So the first thing I want to show you guys is when you go to Google, if you type in Cipro horror stories or Cipro negative side effects, it is incredible how many stories come up. And in many of these articles, it is called being floxed when you get negative side effects from this class of drugs. Because this whole class of drugs is dangerous, the whole class of it. And Cipro is just the most commonly prescribed one of the class, I suppose. So this first story is on drugwatch.com. I will link all of these stories down below. And it is about a woman in Oklahoma who took Cipro. Okay, so we're going to read a little bit of this. The only part of Ann Winslow's body that is not in pain is her mouth, and she is not afraid to use it. The 62-year-old grandmother is using her voice to warn people to stay away from fluoroquinolone antibiotics, Cipro, and Levaquin. I am not short on words, she said. I beg people to stay away from these drugs. Winslow of Oklahoma first took the antibiotics for simple urinary tract infection. The drugs ultimately led to kidney failure, chronic nerve pain, and aneurysms. Does this sound familiar to anybody? If you watched my last video, you know that I am suffering from some of these side effects. And it is so common. So many of you commented on the video saying that you experience this as well. And we should all take a note from this grandmother's playbook here and use our voices to share our stories and warn people about the drugs that they are prescribing. I was fried. I went back to see my doctor 4 days after getting back from the hospital. I was bad. After seeing me, my doctor wrote on his report, "Death is imminent." If I had a gun then, I would have shot myself. The pain made me desperate. She told her doctor that she thought Levaquin hurt her. He replied, "I know it did." The side effects from these drugs are truly horrifying. And when I was first experiencing the toxicity from these drugs, I too was in a place where I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't eat. It was so hard to live, just to live. So I can definitely relate to this woman's story. Winslow called Janssen Pharmaceuticals, the company that manufactures Levaquin. She has since contacted a lawyer to sue the company. I cursed out Janssen. I sent them pictures of my aneurysm and said, "Print them out and put them on your wall of fame," she said. "How dare they? I didn't ask for this. I'm not their guinea pig, but I was just their cash cow." And that is relatable. Because why would these doctors still be prescribing a medicine that is showing so many negative side effects and there's so many horror stories and it's being banned in other countries? Why are our doctors still prescribing them? There's only one answer that I can think of. If it makes me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, that's fine. But I really, really want to put my trust in doctors and I just can't because they keep letting me down And this is another time that they let us down. Here is another article that I really wanted to look at. It is on ABC 10 News San Diego. Let's actually watch a clip together. Let's do that.
It's one of the most widely prescribed antibiotics in the country. It's called Cipro, and the side effects could lead to your death. Experts are now calling for tighter controls on these prescriptions to protect the public.
Team 10 investigative reporter Jennifer Kastner spoke to former Cipro users right here in San Diego who say they hit rock bottom after taking the medication.
I felt like I was in the pit of hell.
Annie Spackman from Chula Vista describes it as the darkest time of her life.
I didn't know how much more I could handle.
After taking the antibiotic Cipro,
My knees, my ankles, my feet, pain, just shooting pain.
Burning sensations in my muscles, my joints, my tendons, my ligaments.
Tom Ingolia, who lives in Pacific Beach, says his health also spiraled after taking it.
I had pain throughout my body.
Annie suffered from panic attacks, brain fog, and depression.
You feel lonely, helpless.
She says with faith, she pulled through. But Florence Summers says her daughter, Deanna, did not. Cipro is one of the brand names for a class of antibiotics known as Fluoroquinolones. Another brand name, Levaquin. Since 2015, the FDA has recognized a syndrome related to taking these drugs. It's called fluoroquinolone-associated disability. The FDA added black box warnings to these drugs, citing disabling and potentially irreversible side effects, including suicidal thoughts. But experts say no one's reading that warning that's buried in this medication insert.
We have suicides after 1 or 2 days of the antibiotics.
Dr. Charles Bennett, a nationally recognized medication safety expert, says it's a big problem.
The risks outweigh the benefits.
A review of the FDA's own data shows more than 20,000 reports of psychiatric side effects like anxiety and depression, and 174 suicides connected to these antibiotics since 1998. U.S. doctors wrote 29.7 million prescriptions for these drugs in 2016 alone, according to the CDC. Dr. Bennett has filed a petition with the FDA asking that doctors who prescribe this medicine get patients to sign a release that they understand the risks before taking the drugs. The FDA told us it is reviewing Dr. Bennett's request for a new warning, adding it is important that healthcare providers and patients are aware of both the risks and benefits of fluoroquinolones. We reached out to Bayer, which makes Cipro. The drug maker says the antibiotic is an important class of medications that treat a wide range of bacterial infections, many of which are serious and can be life-threatening. The company told us it closely monitors the safety of the drug and encourages patients to discuss the risks and benefits of these medications with their doctor. The drug maker Janssen is no longer making Levaquin, but the drug is still available in generic form.
Something more has to be done to let people know just the extreme side effects that it can have on you.
Seeing so many people relate to the horrors that come with Cipro in this video, it makes me sick, but it also makes me feel better. I don't know if this is making any sense, but when people can relate to me in my stories, it makes me feel less alone. And that's why I say, like, it makes me feel good that you can relate. But it also makes me sick because these doctors continue to prescribe this medication that is just tearing people's lives apart. Like, why? I don't understand. I don't think I'll ever understand. And we need to take a note from other countries that are banning this class of drugs. We need to take a note from them because there are alternatives to Cipro. There are things that should be prescribed way before you need Cipro. There are lower class antibiotics for a bladder infection that you can prescribe. These high class antibiotics are meant for worst case scenario, last case scenario. That's what they're meant for, and they're being used as a first defense. That's what doesn't make sense to me and will never make sense to me. I would like to find if there's like a petition to sign that we can like promote in this video. What do you guys think? Let's look it up. All I can find on Google are petitions to put more warnings on the antibiotics and to ask the FDA to make them more classified, but I really think that we need a petition that calls to make this a worst case scenario drug, and like you can't just prescribe it for at-home use the way that it has been being used right now. The way it's being used right now is just inappropriate for the amount of side effects that people are experiencing. But if any of you can find a petition like this, please let me know and link it below. I would love to sign it and promote it in any way that I can. Okay, last one. An FDA panel has found the benefits do not outweigh the risks when it comes to some commonly prescribed antibiotics. An ongoing investigation has exposed thousands of complaints about the drugs Levaquin, Cipro, and Avalox, which are all fluoroquinolones. In a rare hearing on Thursday, patients got the opportunity to tell the FDA their stories of devastating side effects, from a mom who says the drugs destroyed her life to a woman who says the antibiotics left her handicapped. I immediately lost the use of my legs, whole body burning, says Virginia Kaplan, who was prescribed Levaquin in the past. Kaplan was a vibrant actress, model, and manager of a fitness center. Now she struggles to walk. She told the FDA panel that in 2008 she was prescribed Levaquin, a powerful antibiotic that can fight anthrax or a sinus infection. She told the panel her quality of life has never been the same. Even more alarming, Kaplan recently reviewed her medical records and found she didn't even need those drugs. I did not have an infection. I was cultured twice and I did not have an infection. Dozens of others stood before the panel sharing their heartbreaking stories. Within days of starting Levaquin, I completely lost control of my bladder. I had blood clots and spontaneous tendon ruptures. I have been severely injured since 2006, King explained. I beg you, panel, please strengthen the warnings. Fluoroquinolone safety has been well characterized, Susan Nicholson with the Johnson & Johnson said. Fluoroquinolones have been available for almost 3 decades. Thursday's advisory panel is recommending label changes, but the FDA gets the final say. If this was in 2015, then I doubt that anything has happened because warnings are not stronger. They're still being prescribed for things like bladder infections, and they're still ruining people's lives. So, shout out to you, FDA. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video today. Please watch out for fluoroquinolones. You do not want to risk it. It's not worth the risk. Ask for something else. They likely have something else to prescribe you. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell button so that you are notified every time that I upload on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching. Happy holidays, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.